This may be a hot take or this may be a cold take, but this is Big Bro's take. And Big Bro's take on Night of Champions 2025 is that I do believe that Night of Champions going forward, when we reach 2026, when we reach 2027 and 2028, I do believe that this pay-per-view should be canceled and it should not continue if we are going to continue like this, because 2025's Night of Champions only had 2 matches out of the 6 matches on the entire card, man. The first match was a King of the Ring final. The second match was a street fight. The third match was a normal one-on-one match. The fourth match was an actual title match for the United States title. And the fifth match was another King of the Ring final. And the final match was actually another title match to cap off the entire card. Now, you're probably asking yourself, yo, Big Bro, why do you want this pay-per-view to end? Why do you want this pay-per-view to be canceled? What is going on in that big hard-headed brain of yours? Well, the reason is because if you go back all the way back in time to 2007, when WWE, for some odd and stupid reason, they retired the Vengeance name and they now made it Vengeance Night of Champions. When you looked at that pay-per-view and you were looking at 2007, 2008, when they eventually removed the Vengeance aspect and they just made it Night of Champions, then 2009 and 10 and 11, remember the PG era is a trash era with some little good outliers sprinkled in between. But the one thing that you cannot deny that trash PG era is that Night of Champions, for the most part, almost every single pay-per-view had all of the champions defending their championships on that pay-per-view. But now that we are going to fast forward in 2025 and we look at this year's Night of Champions, we only have 2 champions defending their championships on a 6-match card. And where is Io Sky? Where is Gunther? Where are the Street Profits? Where is the New Day? Where is Tiffany Stratton? Where are all of these champions? Hell, even the Speed Championship. Where is the Speed Championship? I know that Liv Morgan is out injured, so I'm not going to ask where is the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, but where is the United States Championships for the women? Where is the Intercontinental Championship for the women? You know, all of these questions could be answered in a straightforward way if Triple H actually booked most of these champions to defend their championships on this card. But to have only 2 championships being defended on an entire card that the entire pay-per-view is called Night of Champions is a slap to the face. And I also really did not like that the King of the Ring finals were being defended and were being showcased on a pay-per-view like Night of Champions. I really do like when the King of the Ring tournament culminates in a King of the Ring pay-per-view like how it did last year. I really did like the King of the Ring pay-per-view last year, in my honest opinion. Now, enough ranting about the concept of Night of Champions. How did the pay-per-view fare well in terms of the quality? I'll be completely honest with you, it's not ass. It's not really ass, and it's not like mid as fuck, but it's not great. It's kind of in the middle tier, leaning towards the end of the tier when we look at the 6 out of 10s or the 6.5 out of 10s or even like the 6.9 out of 10s. It was a solid show that had solid good matches, especially in my honest opinion the first match where we saw Cody Rhodes taking on Randy Orton, and in my honest opinion that match was the best match of the entire night. In my honest opinion, when we see Cody Rhodes trying to do a Cody Cutter and then Randy now reversing it for an RKO, that was really good. And just to see Cody and Randy have a first match, not like the first match ever because they face each other around Ronda in 2010, but to have a first match in a long time, it's kind of like a dream match. So I like that Cody won, even though I do not like that Randy Orton has been losing every single pay-per-view match he has been having, except Joe Hendry's match at WrestleMania. But I do like that Cody Rhodes won the King of the Ring. Then we now go to the other matches. I'll be dead ass. Raquel and Rhea's match really surprised me because I thought that match would have been a boring stinker that nobody would have even cared for. But that match was pretty solid. The street fight that they had, it was a solid street fight. I liked how they used a lot of the weapons creatively, and that match really shocked me because Raquel is not a wrestler that I would be the first one to say that she's pretty good. But this match proved me wrong about Raquel's quality. Then we now go to the Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross match. Honestly, I love Sami and I like Karrion Kross's character, but that match should have not been on the card. It should have been replaced for a championship match. Then we now had Solo Sikoa beating Jacob Fatu. Honestly, this is probably where I'm going to hate on this show the most because Jacob Fatu only having 70 days as a United States champion is very crazy, man. You have someone who is as charismatic, someone who is so strong, someone who is actually a believable threat to hold the United States Championship for a long time, like Jacob Fatu, lose to someone like Solo. Now, I know the story they're telling is good, but bro, I am tired of the bloodline in big 2025, man. We just escaped a terrible reign from Jey Uso as World Heavyweight Champion, and now we're going to go into a potentially ass reign with Solo Sikoa as champion. Now, Solo Sikoa, he's getting better with his character, but in ring, he's still not a great wrestler. He's still not even a good wrestler, in my honest opinion. Then we now go to the Jade and Asuka match for the finals. In my honest opinion, I do believe that Asuka should have won, but I also like that Jade is winning because Jade is proven to be unstoppable in the WWE, and even though she's not the best wrestler, I think Asuka is way better than her quality in ring wise. But Jade, I actually like Jade as a wrestler and as a character. Now the main event with John Cena taking on CM Punk. Honestly, in my honest opinion, this match is not better than their Money in the Bank 2011 classic match that they had. Remember, the PG era was ass, but they did have a lot of good and great things sprinkled in between the pure trash and the pure dumpster fire. But one of those great things that was sprinkled in between the PG era was John Cena and CM Punk's Money in the Bank 2011 match. So now that we fast forward to 2025 and we compare both matches, honestly, it's a no-brainer that the first one is better than the latter. But this match was pretty fun. It was a pretty good main event match. At first, it was pretty slow and sloppy, but when we started to, hit the finishers and when CM Punk jumped from the top rope with a splash, but then John Cena now reversed it with an FU, I like that spot a lot, in my honest opinion. And the interferences, even though the interferences were tedious and they did kind of overbook the main event, they tried to replicate the WrestleMania from last year's main event, which that one was peak, but the interferences were pretty fun. I kind of liked how Seth Rollins tried to cash in, but he failed. I liked that Penta was in the main event in WWE. We need more of Penta to be in the main event. Penta should be a main event type talent, but the main event was pretty good. It was fine. It was pretty fun, but it wasn't really peak. I still think that the first match with Cody and Randy Orton was the best match in the entire night. But ultimately, this show as a whole proves that Night of Champions should be scrapped, because if you're going to make a show called Night of Champions and you only have 2 championships being defended on that night, then something is fundamentally wrong with the booking system, because how are you going to have a lot of your other champions defending their titles on the TV show and not the pay-per-view? And where the hell is Io Sky? She has not wrestled since like the end of May or the mid-May. Where the hell is Io Sky? Why is Triple H not trying to use probably the best wrestler on the entire roster, Io Sky? I don't know what's going on, but that's the end of the video. I'm out. What do you guys think of this pay-per-view below? Let me know in the comments. Peace.